Oh,
Good evening.
hi. Good evening, Dan. I know it took a little while to get us here, but thanks for joining. We're moving day for the U.S. Open just got completed. I know it's 11:10 p.m. on the East Coast. Since this is played in Los Angeles, obviously it took us a while to record this. So we're one more day, Father's Day coming up. It's going to be a great finish. So I know when we started the U.S. Open prior to that, we didn't do a preview due to scheduling issues, but I think we had picked three golfers to win, and then what we can do is that we can quickly go over that, and then go through the first 3 days of play, and then predict who's going to win. Good, fair enough.
Sounds good.
All right. So I think on my case, I did pick Kepkar Ram and Scotty Scheffler. And when I look at it, I see Scotty is now, I believe, in the second group, along with Rory. That'll be a great pairing um, tomorrow. And Wyndham Clark is going to go with Ricky Fowler. We'll get to Ricky, but right now I do have one person left, which is Scotty Scheffler. And then let's look at yours.
Yeah, so I went with I just wrote him down just to jog my memory. I went with Victor Hovland, who was second place finisher at the PGA Championship to Brooks Koepka last month, and he's had a pretty good year. Uh, Brooks Koepka, who won the PGA, runner up at the Masters, and then Max Homa, who's a local boy from Los Angeles, very familiar with this course. I think I read prior to the tournament he owns the course record at this course actually. And so I thought he would have a good showing. Unfortunately, he did not make the cut. I just looked up my picks. Koepka is tied 20th and Hovland is tied 12th. So it's looking like your Scheffler pick is the strongest of our six picks, and I think he's got the best shot, obviously. And my sleeper pick was Patrick Cantlay, also a local boy, played his golf at UCLA, his college golf, and he's tied 15th. So I think he had a strong day today, got off to a slow start the first few days.
Yeah, and I think my sleeper pick was Rory McIlroy, which is like picking Alcaraz for the U.S. Open, according to you. So
Pick.
anyway, I think the most impressive thing in the first 3 days has been Ricky Fowler, except for the last, I would say, the putt that he missed on 18 just a few minutes ago. Other than that, he's been very consistent. Um, I believe he and Xander both shot a 62 on day one, um, 30 on the front and 32 on the back nine. He's played solid golf throughout. I mean, he's not won a single major. Maybe this is his chance to win it all on Father's Day, but I do think like Wyndham Clark is playing pretty solid. Um, he won the Wells Fargo. Uh, I think in this year.
Yep.
So he definitely knows how to win on tour, at least this year. And his approach shot in 18 was amazing, just to uh, tie him with Ricky Fowler. So I think we're looking forward to a great finish coming down the wire.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess we'll go ahead and start with just making our picks, how it's going to end up, who's going to hold the cup, the trophy tomorrow. If I had to pick someone right now, I think Scheffler's going to do it. To be honest, look, he is three shots back, but if you look at it, I think Scheffler is the steadiest. He's the coolest out there. As far as I think with pressure, he's the last couple of years, no one been better under pressure than himself as far as just being steady and great ball striking, solid putting. I could see Fowler getting a little tight. He hasn't been in this position, and I mean ever. Final group. I don't think on a Sunday at a major. I know he finished top five at I think all four majors about 7 or 8 years ago. You'd have to have our stats person look that up, but I'm pretty sure there was a year he finished top five all four majors, but he's still never been in the final group. I don't believe. I think he's gonna get a little tight. And I think that putt on 18 tonight is gonna be in his head tomorrow a little bit. On those short putts. I hate to say. And I think Rory's been in the final group in a bunch of majors since he's won his last, but he's just always come up a little short. I think that's going to be the case again. So I think if Scheffler could shoot maybe 3 under tomorrow, 2 or 3 under, the other guys maybe shoot even or 1 or 2 over. I think that might catapult Scheffler to the top. That's my pick.
Yeah. And now talking about Scheffler, I mean, his eagle, it was almost like 190 plus yards. That was a great shot. And then just pulled him into the top four to even get in the pairing with Rory McIlroy. Talking about Rory, one thing I didn't realize is that Rory hasn't won a major in about 9 years.
Yep. Yep.
That is incredible. I didn't think that was even possible for a golfer of his stature. And then coming back to Scheffler, yes, I agree with you. He's been the most consistent, most solid one over the past few years. The one thing I was just looking at, Rory, when Ricky Fowler is actually at the podium right now, and when I look at it, his scores over the last 3 days, 62, 68, 70. Although I think he played pretty close to what he did yesterday. The one thing that's going to be on his mind is the putt that he missed for par on 18. That's definitely going to linger a little bit. So if you're going to go, I mean, I know I have to stick with Scotty because of who I picked. But if you're asking me, who else could win it? I mean, who do I want to win? That'll be Ricky Fowler. Who else could win it? Here's where I'm going to go with the sleeper pick. Here's where I get my sleeper pick because it may not be Rory because we didn't want to go with that. I was going to go with Wyndham Clark. I watched most of it today and very impressed. There were times when you thought that he was lagging behind, but he still made some amazing putts, amazing approach shots, and his drives were down the middle. And even in some cases, just playing very simple, smart golf, laying up, not trying to do anything crazy, and then playing consistently. So to me, Scotty was my pick before the tournament started. So I'm going to stick with Scotty. Who do I want to win? Ricky. Who do I think I would win? Would be Wyndham Clark.
So you're picking Wyndham to win, not Scheffler. You're going with Clark.
No, I still have to go with Scotty because that's what I picked. But I do think that based on after 3 days of 3 days, I think you know what? Let's go with Wyndham Clark.
If you had to put $20 on one golfer to win, you're saying it's Clark.
Yes, correct.
I'm going Scheffler for my $20 bet. So all right, we'll see how it shakes out.
Even though I did pick Scotty at the start of the tournament,
right.
So let's see how it goes.
Right.
So what did you think overall? When this day started today, Dustin Johnson was among the top, and other golfers, even Harris English kind of slipped through. I think this course definitely has played a little challenging. One of the things I did hear, Kepka. I mean, although I don't want to call him a whiner, but I do think that he was not too happy at the course itself. So again, let's see how this course is going to play. Interestingly, talking about the course, I believe it was designed by Gil Hanse, and I was listening to a podcast that he was on with David Novak talking about the layout of this course. And his background. So pretty impressive. It seems to be a very hard course just from watching it. The roughs, the Bermuda grass are pretty bad. I mean, one thing I can tell you, like Xander, it was almost like watching me get off the bunker. It took him 3 shots to get off the bunker on the first hole.
Yeah, the course on the very first day looked like it was going to be just a regular PGA Tour event with these scores. I think were the lowest ever on the first day of the U.S. Open, if not the lowest, maybe second or third lowest. Average score I think was around 71 or 70 on the first day. And as you said, two golfers, Xander and Ricky Fowler, both shot 62s, which tied for the lowest first round score, our lowest score ever at a U.S. Open round. I think tying Johnny Miller, the retired NBC announcer, now former major winner. So it looked like it was going to be maybe a final score of like -15 to -20, but luckily the course has shown its teeth the last couple of days with, I guess, the sun coming out, it warming up, the greens are drying out. So when these players hit their irons into greens, the greens aren't necessarily as receptive to the ball. It's they're not holding the ball like they were, like it was the first day when it was a birdie fest out there. And like you said, if you miss, even though these fairways are relatively wide, miss the fairway, the fescue and that rough is harsh. And then I think we'll talk about briefly. I haven't watched too much of the I've started watching the tournament closely tonight when I got back, so I saw a lot of the back nine, but the front nine has some long par threes. I think two par threes that are 280 plus yards, if I'm not mistaken. So that's tough.
277. One was 277. You're right.
Yeah, so you got some tough par threes, and then you got that tricky number 15 that it only played 80 yards today, but gave these pros plenty of trouble because you're shooting at a flag that was just barely over the bunker, So they had to, really go to shoot left, and that left for a tough putt if you didn't hit your spot exactly. So tough par threes at this course, and some long par fours too on the finishing stretch. I think a 528-yard par four today. So they've lengthened the course, with those par fours and made some tough par threes. So the fairways are wider, I just think the sheer length of the course is still making it tough on even these players who can bomb it with the best of them. What do you think?
Yeah. To your point, the first 2 days was impressive scoring. I did hear on the broadcast that Ricky was 18 out of 36 holes he had birdies. That is incredible. I mean 130 score first 2 days for him. I think that was the best at the U.S. Open. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it. And I agree with you. And on day 4, which is tomorrow, Father's Day, I really feel that I agree with everything that you said, but I think the pressure will get to some of these golfers, and then the pin placements is going to be very different from what it was today, and I think it's going to make it a little more tougher for these golfers. And let's see who comes through, who actually kind of beats the pressure, and that's one of the reasons. I mean, that's why I think, to your point about Scotty Scheffler, who's handled these moments, especially in the last few years, he's been solid. Rory, on the other hand, has kind of waned away towards the end of these majors.
Yeah.
And let's see if Wyndham Clark can somehow pull through. So I agree with you. I think this is going to be a fun, down to the wire. I definitely think I would like something like that, down to the wire. The one thing would be is that if the U.S. Open indeed does end in a tie, they do have to play 18 holes on Monday, if it does end in a tie. So I'm hoping it ends tomorrow so that we can enjoy it, because we cannot watch it during work time. So I'm hoping for a very good finish coming down to the last hole. And I'll stick with my prediction with Wyndham Clark.
All right, we'll see. I'll stick with Scheffler, and I think I'm trying to check that right now for us. The U.S. Open playoff format, it actually changed. You're right. It used to be an 18-hole playoff. I remember watching several of those. Tiger Woods against Rocco Mediate, famously.
2008.
Famous one. I remember one, I think, with Hal Irwin many years ago too, possibly. But I'm looking it up right now. It looks like it's now a 2-hole aggregate playoff, actually, right now.
Okay.
It did change it
All
a
right.
few years ago.
I stand corrected.
So thanks to our stats guy there, Miss Dr. Google. But
Okay.
yeah. Okay. But anyways, yeah. So enjoy the final round. It's always fun on Father's Day to sit around and watch.
And let's see if we can get something on the golf course tomorrow morning. So
get some birdies of our own.
All right, let's see you there tomorrow, and we'll see who wins it, and let's go from there. All right, it's a good night from here. We're signing off.
All right, good night.
Good night.